solutions. Throughout his career, Bro Emmanuel has held pivotal roles in renowned companies like Jumia and Microsoft. As a senior product manager, he spearheads the development of cutting-edge tech solutions, contributing significantly to different companies' growth and revenue generation. Bro Emmanuel is not only an accomplished product manager, but also brings a wealth of experience in human resources and then recruitment, spanning 7 years from now. With a keen eye for talent and a deep understanding of the recruitment landscape, Bro Emmanuel has conducted interviews for over 100 organizations across Africa. He navigates his platform to assist job seekers in assist job market and landing their dream positions. This dual expertise in product management and recruitment reflects Bro Emmanuel's commitment to both building exceptional teams and then delivering innovative solutions that drive organizational change, that drives organizational success. As an Adventist, a core Adventist, he is a man who is married with one wife, and to the glory of God, our eyes is highly expecting God's miracles and much more than their expectations in that family. That is the young man that will be talking to us this evening. I pray that as we listen, I draw close your ear, so please listen to him. There is something to take away from this young man. And I know that the Lord will be with us this evening. He will come up just after the theme song for this evening. Happy listening to all of you. You are welcome.
Pressing on the upward way, new heights I'm gaining every day, still praying as I onward bound. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. My heart has no desire to stay where doubts arise and fears dismay. Though some may dwell where these abound, my prayer, my aim is higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. I want to scale the utmost height and catch a gleam of glory bright, but still I'll pray till heaven I found. Lord, lead me on to higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground.
Um, Good evening, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I'll be sharing my screen. While I share my screen, I trust our day went well. At my end, it's currently raining. I don't know if it's raining at your end, at your part of the world, but it's currently raining. Um, I believe that this period of discussion is a period that we're going to learn so much. And the topic we are talking about today is not just for those in the 9 to 5, it's also for those who are in the business world or those who are entrepreneurs. So I'll be sharing my screen shortly so we can start our discussion tonight. The topic is how to get promoted faster at your workplace. How to get promoted faster at your workplace. It's a topic that talks to every one of us on this call, given that we are all professionals in our respective fields. And I'm sharing my experience through this topic so we can see that, yes, it's possible that you get promoted, not just getting promoted, but also get promoted faster. You can climb several ladders, regardless of where you work, whether it's in a structured environment or a non-structured environment. Yeah, so straight on from here, we know that virtually everyone wants to be promoted. However, statistically, in 2 years, within 2 years, 70% of persons wants promotion. However, less than 30% actively prepare for it. It's a start from the Bureau of Statistics in Nigeria. And I also saw that this is also the same in Europe as well. I was speaking to a colleague during a one-on-one session. Usually at my workplace, we have one-on-one session between managers and subordinates. And I asked him if he wants to be promoted. This is someone who joined the organization barely 3 months. And he said, yes, I wish to be promoted. Everyone wants something good. Everyone wants good things. However, it takes a couple of things to get that promotion and also get it faster. Maybe you and I are not among the 30% that actively prepare for it. So this session is for us to know what it takes for us to be promoted faster. And the question is, how can you get promoted faster at your workplace? Getting promoted at your workplace or in different organization where you find yourself involves three strategic things. And the first one is doing great work. I coined this from the Bible, where Proverbs 22 verse 29 tells us that, seest thou a man who is diligent in his work? He will stand before kings and not bare men. Seest thou a man who is diligent in his work? That's King James Version. For some other versions, it says, seest thou a man who is consistently excellent in his work? He shall stand before kings and not mere men. So even the Bible takes excellent work, great work, as very important. So in being promoted, number one thing that you should consider is doing a fantastic work, an excellent work. If that is not the bare minimum, then you probably want to be stagnant wherever you find yourself. So that's the bare minimum, doing excellent work. And doing excellent work does not mean that you do when you are assigned a task to do. Today you do it well, tomorrow you do it haphazardly, next tomorrow you give excuses, the day after that you do it well. It requires consistency. Consistency. And that is where the Bible even comes in. When you are consistently excellent at what you do, um, that's the preliminary level for you to become promoted. So it's a first expectation from you to becoming promoted. I had an experience. Thank you, Elder Garrick, for that introduction. While I was a junior, um, I had the responsibility of working with different colleagues across the world to build software products. And before I joined, um, it took the organization about 6 months to get a person. So when I joined, it looked like, oh, this person I joined, we've been looking for someone, and this person joined. Let's see what he can do. I never knew. But as a person, I just knew that excellency, being excellent at what I do is what I have to take important. So when I joined, the responsibility was a lot because I have to manage a whole lot of tasks. And at the time, I was even a junior, um, junior staff, as the case may be. Um, the usual in structured organizations, we have A levels, B levels, C levels, and at the time, I was at A level. You know, however, the role that was given to me was the role of someone who is in B level. And in the first 3 months, usually as a person, I gauge my results or outcomes for my task within a quarter, although in week basis. So when I joined, a lot of things were supposed to be done, but what I did was take initiative, work with the exact persons who would help me, apart from my boss or manager, and um 6 months down the line, my manager went on leave. He was to go on leave. And at that time, I was scared because there's a lot of things to be done and I don't know so much. So it dawned on me that I'm on my own, but I told myself, God helping, I stood the ground for my manager, working. I was able to meet with top C levels, D levels executives, and my work was seen, so I and that brings me to how to do a great job or how to do a great work. Each of us here have several roles that we occupy. I think we have lawyers here, we have salespersons here, we have insurance persons here, administrators, tech persons, as the case may be. We all have several roles that we occupy, either at our businesses or workplaces. How do we do a great work? Number one is to understand your role and expectations clearly. You probably, using my case now as a product manager, I build software products, working with software developers, quality assurance engineers, data analysts, and the case may be, do I understand my role? Do I understand my expectations, my key performance index, which they call KPIs? Do I understand what is expected of me? So you should understand what your role entails, right? And it's a continuous exercise. While you may understand it today, every organization's grow. No organization wants to be stagnant. They are dynamic. So what works today may not work the next quarter. So consistently, you should understand your role and your expectations, right? Secondly, deliver consistently and on time. Something happened while I was working on my current role. Those that report directly to me needed to go on leave. And usually from the company's policy, not every, in your department, not everyone should go on leave. At least two persons should remain. But these persons needed to go on leave because they were unwell. They have doctor's reports. And I needed to take initiative throughout the time that they will be on leave. One thing that happens that I've always seen is it is when your colleagues go on leave that it looks like things will not want to work well. But because I had taken that initiative as a person that I would consistently do my best, do the right thing based on the expectations that is required of me. Throughout the period they were on leave, I was able to arrest every situation. I was on time. Once there's any Teams message that comes in, even if I am eating, I've tried to solve it because I know what is required of me, right? But the thing is, people are watching. While my manager saw that a couple of persons have gone on, he was so surprised I was able to handle everything. It's not within my jurisdiction, technically, but I was able to handle things well, right? So whichever work that is assigned to you, do it well and consistently. Now, I have a colleague at work. This colleague of mine, he has been a thorn in the flesh for me, given that every task that is assigned, he never meets the deadline. It's either when the deadline elapses, he starts giving excuses here and there, you know. And when I saw this as his manager, I mean, I had one-on-one session with him, and I expected that he would change. But the thing is, as minute as his role was, people at the top were watching. I never escalated the issue, but they knew that something is wrong somewhere based on the fact that they know some task has been assigned to him. So, and that led to him being placed on PIP, or what's it called in professional terms. He was placed on probation because of that, and that affected his psyche. So no matter how little you are assigned, no matter how little a task is assigned to you, ensure that you go beyond average, do it well, pay attention to details and quality, take initiative, solve problems before they escalate. At my workplace, we usually have a brainstorming period where we talk about, say, for those in the C levels, we talk about, the next step, more or less the next goal of the organization, which they call, I'm looking for the word now, objectives and key results, OKR, that's what it is called. We discuss our OKRs, objectives and key results is like what you plan to achieve in terms of metrics. For instance, does Porters Outreach wants to get 500 new persons to worship with us every Sabbath? That's an objective to be achieved. Does Porters Outreach want their tithe and offering to grow from 500K to 5 billion naira? So we discuss that period, how do I put it now? It's a period of discussion to align on what our OKRs are, and during that period, when some persons speak, you ask, what exactly is the problem? Why are they speaking this way? They don't take initiatives. They only know how to escalate problems. They only know how to escalate problems. I want to play a short video from a former US president, on what is important about solving problems as in respect to doing a great job. Please watch.
Just learn how to get stuff done. And what I mean by that is I've seen at every level people who are very good at describing problems, people who are very sophisticated in explaining why something went wrong or why something can't get fixed. But what I'm always looking for is, no matter how small the problem or how big it is, somebody who says, let me take care of that. If you project an attitude of whatever it is that's needed, I can handle it and I can do it, whoever's running that organization will notice, I promise. And which is why I think with young people, you don't always need to be so impatient asking for the plum assignment. A lot of times the best way to get attention is whatever is assigned to you, you are just nailing. You're killing it, because people will notice, oh, that's somebody who can get something done.
All right. That's someone who gets something done. So whatever is assigned to you, just nail it, solve it. You know, over the years, I mean, before at a junior point of view, many years back, I used to see things from a problematic point of view. I just try to find what exactly is the problem with this thing. But over the years, I realized that what professionals, what is expected of professionals, what business owners, what top persons really want from a person is someone who not just only sees the problem, but finds a solution. Let me just handle it. Let me just fix it. You know, they just find a solution. So you should be a solution-oriented person. And that's part of doing a great work. And when you're a solution-oriented person, people will say, I can depend on that person, I can count on that person, you know. So that is what is expected of us. I'm saying this because it has worked. For me, presently at my workplace, my manager is the CEO, and he doesn't, I mean, he left me to do all that I needed to do because he has seen over the years that I am able to perform well, you know. So, and he doesn't do that. I mean, you know, some persons are being micromanaged, but I don't see myself, I've never been micromanaged in that way, you know, because I consistently, you know, put in my best, give solutions to problems. I don't just see problems alone. I prefer solutions. And that is what can help us. Even at Porters Outreach, you know, when there are problems, let's not look at problems alone. Let's bring it from a solution point of view. And that people will see us as someone they can count on, you know, and that is very important for us in doing a great work. Number two is documenting your results. You know, it's one thing to do a great job, but how many people is seeing that great job? Are the right persons saying it? You know, at my previous workplace, I think the workforce was over 2,000, right? So it means that not many people will see what you are bringing to the table, except maybe people within your department or people with maybe your manager, as the case may be. But there are some decision makers in the organizations who should see your work. And that is why it is important for you to document your result, right? And what are the kind of things that you can document? Metrics, you know. I know that some of us are sales executives here. As a sales executive, it is not expected of you to only make sales. You know, you should also, you know, ensure that you probably pass your, what do they call it now? Your budget or revenue expectations as it is expected of you. You're expected to meet above what is expected of you. If you have been asked to, say, bring in $5 billion, you should go beyond 5 million and all of that. But some of us go beyond what we have been asked to do. I mean, in terms of result, we get that result, but not many people are seeing the result. The right persons are not seeing the result. And that is why it is important for us to track what we are doing. You know, if you don't track your impact, you can't remember it. And if you can't remember it, you can't share it. So if you have led projects, you have completed a work, you are a civil engineer, you went on site visitation and you saw a couple of things that can help make the site or project better. Document these things, document your result. And by documenting your result, you are able to see yourself in a way that you can track what you have done. And the essence of documenting your result is there are situations where you might have check-ins. We have what we call check-ins in different organizations, regular check-ins with your manager, and to discuss what you have done. And during your check-ins, you can even talk about things you have done. I used to report to a Chinese woman at my previous workplace. And something about Chinese people is that they are workaholics. And one of the things that helped me to get promoted, even working with her, a lot of people didn't want to work with her. But when she became my manager, she saw that I was documenting things that I have done. And not just documenting them, I was sending them as emails, copying the necessary stakeholders, senior figures, and people were seeing it. Guess what? Myself and this manager of mine we went to one of our store points in Abuja. And at the store point, we have different persons who are working there. But I realized that these persons were sluggish, and I know that we need to get back to the airport. So what I did was assisting those people to ensure that we make the work faster. It wasn't within my jurisdiction, but I assisted in that regard. So because I'm someone who has been documenting my result, this woman added this to what my result have been and pushed me for promotion just because I did that. It might be minute, but the fact that you document what you have done, your result, you are doing well, you don't make noise about what you have done. You are only shy because you are an Adventist or you are this. At this day and age, or in this day and age, you need to shout, pronounce your result, pronounce your contributions, put it in slide. That's why usually in our workers' meeting, it is being proposed that we should have what we have done in slides. Because when you say it with your mouth alone, it might just be just for that day. Not everyone will remember. But the fact that you have shared it as a slide, people can see, people can remember that this person did this person did that. So ensure that you document your contributions, document what you have done, and that's a next stage in being getting promoted. So when you do great work, document them. And then the final one is to strategically share your value. It's one thing to document what you have done. It's another thing to share it. Promotions go to those who are seen delivering results, not just those who work silently. And just like I mentioned earlier, if you are seeing delivering results, when you document what you have done, share them. And these are areas where how you can share your result. Update your manager during review check-ins, right? I did something 2 months ago. My organization, we launched a project. In January, we launched a product, and I was instrumental to launching that product because of the magnitude of that product. But not many people knew the role I took in launching that product. So on LinkedIn, I shared what I did specifically on LinkedIn and how we were able to launch that product. And this is why I did that. I did that because I have a lot of colleagues who are following me on LinkedIn. They see that, of course, we launched that product, but it's a team result. But we don't do it based on this is what you did, this is what you did. So I strategically mention all that I did, on LinkedIn. And guess what? 12 senior executives reached out to me that, wow, so you did this. Wow, I'm so proud of you. They are my colleagues, but that's how organizations work. You may work in an organization where there are over 2,000 staffs. You work in Nigeria, some persons work in London, different parts of the world, but only people close to you might just see what you are doing. But you can always shout it, make it loud, document it, share it with your manager during check-ins, or one-on-ones, share it with them, share it on LinkedIn, and the essence of doing this is not just because you'll be promoted. Other organizations would also see what you have done. So and that's one thing that we should take into consideration today. And lastly, contribute updates in internal newsletters or reports. For those of us who work in structured organizations, usually you'll be asked based on your department what you have done. If you are not a manager or you are just maybe a junior staff, you can always reach out to the HR or reach out to your manager that you want so thing to be added to what was done for your department. And something happened in December. Usually a lot of organizations would want to, maybe because they want to scale, they want to lay off some persons, or they want to, more or less lay off some persons. And the decision makers are usually the ones who would sit in a round table to talk about this. And something happened to a colleague of mine. She's a quality assurance tester. Quality assurance testers are people who test your software product to be sure there are no bugs, in the application. And this young lady works with several other colleagues across the world, but she was sacked. And why was she sacked? She was doing her work diligently based on her own view. Everyone believes that they are doing well, but she was sacked because no one saw the result of what she was doing, right? When a task is assigned, she does them, she sends the report, but other persons were doing the same thing. So nothing stood out from others, because as a staff, you might have other colleagues whom you do the same thing, So, but nothing, made us stand out in that role. And that was why she was sacked. And when I went further to ask, what really went wrong, the answer was, in meetings, she never contributes, she never say anything, she only does her job. And so they feel like this person cannot grow with us. This person just wants to stay on his own, or our own rather, So ensure that you strategically share what you are doing, and not just do your work only. Be visible, but not boastful. So I was able to create different levels of professionals and how you can get promoted. First, most people do their job well, which is doing an excellent job. The bare minimum, you do your job well. You can do your job well and still remain stagnant because several other persons are doing their job well as well. But smart people do their job well and they document their results, they track their results. And when you are able to document your result, you see where you are before, where you've been, where you are now, and where you want to be. You gain clarity in that regard. And that also helps you to be able to plan for the future. And in situations where you are asked what you have done, something happened 3 months ago. The co-owner of Manchester United, the popular football club, before the Europa League final, he visited the restaurant where the chefs cook for the footballers, Manchester United footballers, and he asked one of his name is Jim Rat, is it Ratif or so, right? I can't remember his name, but his first name is Jim, and he asked the young lady, one of the chef, that what do you do here, and what have you been doing for the past 3 months? She couldn't say anything, and he went further to ask what she has been doing, how she has contributed to the organization, but she couldn't. She was dumbfounded. I mean, maybe that's not a reason to. I don't know what really happened afterwards, but um, I read that the story did not really end well, you know. But peradventure, she had been documenting what she has been doing, maybe through her meal, she has been able to save, through her skills, she's been able to save the organization maybe some, you know, bulk of money from cooking. I mean, I don't know what chefs do to make their jobs better, but there are things that would make you stand out. So if she had been doing that, maybe she would have an idea of what to say at that level. So it's important to track your result. And lastly, those who get promoted as strategic people, and they do these three. What they do is they do their work well, they track their results or document their results, and they share it. So if you want to get promoted faster, do a good job, do an excellent job consistently. Not you do today well, tomorrow you don't do it well, next tomorrow. Be consistent with it. Share, document your result. I have a sheet where I document things I have done every week. In fact, I know that most organizations do Monday meetings. I don't know, but whether structured or non-structured organizations, you have Monday meetings where you discuss what you have done in the previous week and what you plan to do the following week. In some tech organizations, they call it stand-ups, daily stand-ups or weekly stand-ups, So these are avenues for you to share your results, share what you have been able to do. And by so doing, you'll be noticed and you'll be promoted, trust me. One of my colleagues who works as a data analyst at my workplace, whenever he wants to share his task, what he has been able to achieve for the week, he will say, last week I was able to query so thing. I was able to query so thing as usual. Then I approached him. If you keep saying this, it will look like you are just redundant. You are just doing the same thing every time. Know how to. Thank God we have artificial intelligence, ChatGPT. Know how to structure what you have done in a proper way, so that people that are looking at what you have done on your slide can see, yes, this person is doing well. Right. I'll share an example. At my role as a product manager, I work with several teams, like I mentioned, and while building a product, because your product has to be user-centered, meaning that we cannot be building a product that users don't want. We need to talk to our users, know what our users really want, and look at how they play around what they really want. So I knew that it is, and they call it usability testing in product management. So I knew that particular part of building the product that I was building at the time was important, but nobody spoke about it. I had several other colleagues, nobody spoke about it. So I took the initiative. I went all out, spoke with different users, and enumerate all their results, how they saw the application that we plan to build, And during Monday meeting, when we were to share what we had done, I was the only one who stood out, because I had done all of those things. In fact, during the meeting, I was able to share the exact psychology of users from the product. And after the meeting, the CEO reached out to me that, oh, you did fantastically well. I'm so happy you did that, you know. And so that is it. So strategic people do their job well, document their result, and share their result. I believe that I believe that by doing all of this, ensuring that we have this practical action plan, like I've mentioned all of these, track your wins, practice sharing your results, not in an arrogant way, strategic way. Thank God for AI. You can use AI to make it more concise and straight to the point. You know, volunteer for high impact task. You know, I have this colleague of mine who got promoted just like me. And why was he promoted? This colleague of mine is a UI designer, product designer. Product designers are persons who sketch out, you know, a prototype of how your application would look like. For instance, many of us use what's the most popular application we use today? TikTok. Yeah. Many of us use TikTok. Before TikTok was built, there was a product designer who sketched out how TikTok interface will look like. So that's role of product designer. It's not an application, it just sketches it out. So this young man, during brainstorming sessions, this man would propose things even outside of his jurisdiction, outside of his work. He volunteers to help the organization to do things in marketing, in customer service, and while delivering at his own pace. Guess what? The organization decided that they were going to, I mean, not everyone knew, but I knew that every quarter this man would get salary increase every quarter. And he had other product designers working with him, but because he volunteers to do things, so the business sees him as someone who sees, who sees the growth of the business at heart. So it is very important that you volunteer, and you could volunteer even in doing things within your role that may not even concern you, but someone is watching you. Find a mentor. You know, my previous manager was my mentor at Jumia, and today he still continues to be my mentor. And that's because he's a high performer. You know, it does when there's a problem, he nails it, he kills it, he ensures that it is solved. And those are the kind of persons I like. I think I don't know why this came up. Even at Porter's Outreach, before now, we know how our reports, what do they call it? Workers' meeting report comes out. But since this year, we've been seeing that the, what do they call it? The clerk of the church ensures that within that same day, we get the report. That's an high performer, and someone is watching, you know. So it is very important that we take all of this, not with levity, but with all seriousness. Don't just work hard, work smart, be seen, and be ready. You don't get promoted for your effort alone. You get promoted for recognized impact. Thank you, everyone. I would appreciate questions now.
Okay, once again, everybody, are we ready to give few questions for him to know you have said something? You don't need to work smart. I mean, you need to work well and remain where you are, but you need to work well and apply being smart. That is a great one for me. Okay, that is a great one for me. So, are there questions we just want to give this evening in the next few minutes? Because we have spent time now, so that we can ask their questions. Okay, I think we have a chat here. Okay, that is just a thanks from Brain Yekikwara. Okay, thank you. Thanking you for this impactful presentation. Okay, any question? If there is no question again, we thank God. We just need to do our
I
very
have two
best.
questions.
Okay, two questions. Okay, fine. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Bro Ebenezer one, then after that, Bro Brain. Okay, let's start with you, Bro Ebenezer.
Hey, good evening. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for the wonderful presentation. Spot on, and I agree with you. My question is not necessarily a question, more of but I say inquiry, but I do a lot, but I'm not fond of posting on LinkedIn or shouting out my accomplishment and things like that. Do you have any nuggets or anything that could help out? Because my LinkedIn, I probably post maybe once or twice or 3 times a year, but that's something I know that is a weakness for me. So any hints, any encouragement, or any yeah, as I said, nuggets that could help to make this maybe a bit more fun. Yeah, that's what I have for you.
All right, thank you very much. Once Brain asks is, I'll take both.
All right. Good evening. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, clearly.
All right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for the presentation. So, okay. So for me, I think I've actually had, a couple of experiences, dealing with people and then trying to, you know, put yourself out there, just to ensure that things get done and all of that. And at some point, I found out that sometimes it could be overwhelming. Yes, it could be overwhelming because, being the man that just wants to ensure that everything gets done, people can take advantage of you sometimes, right? And then they now begin to see it as, okay, our brain is there now, our Emmanuel is there, just tell him he'll do it for you. Because I remember so many years ago when I was in that particular organization, and I found out that it almost became a norm that I'll be the last person to leave the office because everybody will just want to dump their job on me and say, okay, just me now, I know you can do it now. Help me now. Even when it is not really my, responsibility as per se, people will just ensure that they will just, push it to you, and at the end of the day, if care is not taken, you might just get yourself worked up. So a situation like that, how do you, try to balance it in such a way that, you don't get overused, you don't get, what's the word, like a dumping bag, if I will use that word, that people will just begin to be throwing stuff at you at random and all of that. So that's one. And then secondly, um, when it comes to, you know, blowing your trumpet, just as you mentioned. I don't know, I just rephrased, what you tried to say when you were talking about, letting people know what you do, maybe documenting, posting, and all of that. When it comes to blowing your trumpet, sometimes yeah, it's a good thing, but sometimes it's, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking out loud now. People might also see it as you being proud, I'll use the word, or maybe they see it as if you want to outshine another person, and because I know as a team player, it is always said that in a team, if one person is doing well and the rest of the team is not doing well, it's as if the team as a whole is not doing well. So you can't just be the only one flying and then others are dragging. And as a manager, sometimes it's boils down on you to try and see how you can ensure that everybody is, up and doing. And now, in my own team, like I have two people currently that, that reports to me, and then I try as much as I can to, try to build them up and all of that. And I've come to realize that as a leader, as much as you want to be an example or a role model that you want them to mirror and then bring them up to speed and all of that. But sometimes you just have to also take some tough decisions. I remember during your presentation, you made mention of somebody that you said is always a thorn in your flesh, probably not delivering when it's supposed to, always behind schedule and all of that. So when you have such people in your team and kind of like they're lagging behind and wanting to take you back, how do you deal with them in a way not to, bring down their self-esteem or, kind of try to be in a discouragement to them as the case may be. So I don't know if you understand my question. So I'm just looking at it from that perspective. How do you, try to bring up somebody that you know that this person is not doing well and you really want the person to do well, and maybe the person's attitude or maybe the person don't see potentials in what he or she is doing, or they have not just caught up for it. So how do you, try to manage such person to ensure that, I mean, you as the manager, that you don't just take the fall? Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So I'll take it from Ebenezer's question. What to do, tips that can help to blow your trumpet, especially on LinkedIn, as the case may be. Before I mention these tips, just to add, blowing your trumpet, especially on LinkedIn, helps you not just to be seen by your colleagues, but to be seen by people around the world. And I'll give an instance. 3 months ago, was it 3? Yeah, 3 months ago, I wrote something on LinkedIn about how I was able to manage in building a product. How I was able to manage a software developer into working with the timeline that we give to the business. For every product that you build, you always give a timeline. Oh, by October 20, this thing must be launched, or this product must be launched. So I gave a breakdown of how I was able to manage a software developer, ensuring that a problem that is spotted was solved before the timeline, and that helped us to launch the product even before the time. And it got a lot of likes on LinkedIn and all of that. And a recruiter reached out to me that he saw what I shared. The recruiter is from a company in Europe, and tried to schedule an interview with me for, to work with the organization, right? It's not just him. Several other employers would reach out, because recruiters are on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a corporate environment where people check for staffs, check for people who are doing well in their organization, So that's what it can give to you when you blow your trumpet. Now, what are the tips that you can use to blow your trumpet? I use what we call a STAR method. STAR is an acronym for situation, task, action, and result. Situation, task, action, and result. Now, situation is you describing what exactly happened, right? Just like I mentioned, the situation was a software developer trying to increase the timeline outside of what was agreed upon, and which would impact the revenue of the organization. That was the situation I wrote, and that's for the S part of it. The task now was what exactly needs to be done. Do we now shift the timeline? So I was in between making the decision whether to shift the timeline or find a way around it. The action, which is A there, is what I did, how I did that thing, the impact that I put into that work, you know. So, and what was that impact? I was able to ask a few questions, suggest alternatives for the software developer. And guess what? These alternatives I suggested worked, right? And that's where the results come in the R. So situation, task, action, and result. Situation is what exactly is the problem. Task is what needs to be done. A is the action you put into it. I mean, the impact that you as a person put into that particular situation, and the result of that action or result of that, the result of that action. So people want to read stories, and I didn't just do it. I didn't just write. I'm not an orator. I used ChatGPT to help me coin it. I just described it to ChatGPT. ChatGPT helped me to, outline it in a proper manner. When I saw that, oh, the way ChatGPT wrote this one, it's not looking good. I also refined it and asked it to. So technology helped me to be able to refine what I needed to post online. So that's how you can post your successes in not in a arrogant manner, but in a subtle, successful, you demure manner, like the Gen Zs call it. So yeah, and to Brain's question about blowing your trumpet, not making it look like you're proud. Like I said, just make it a star approach. Describe the situation. What was the problem? It could be that you're in the insurance sector. It could be that you had a client who did not want to renew their policy, whatever. How you were able to convince that client, and the result, maybe the client now eventually renewed their. So it will show that, oh, this person has that, whether it's sales or marketing, I don't know, but that's an instance that you can use to blow your trumpet, right? And people are watching, whether you have 0 likes or 1 like, people are watching. I've been doing this from time immemorial. I don't apply for jobs or anything, but recruiters reach out to me, you know, because I've been blowing my trumpets on LinkedIn, because that's where corporate persons are. And that's it. So just use the star approach, use AI to refine it. You may not be the best of persons who can use your vocabularies to put it down, but that would help you in that regard. And then to the question about being a dumping ground, and how to avoid it. Yes, so I would describe this situation that happened at work. Maybe that would help. While I know that I have a lot to do in my desk, I've been able to show to the organization that I work with that I also have experiences in other areas like digital marketing, just the way we use Porter's Outreach to, I've been able to demonstrate that working with the digital marketing lead, the marketing guys, it's not within my jurisdiction. Now, something happened sometimes ago where um, um, they needed to push out content on social media, right? And the person who was supposed to do it calling sick, and there was no one to do it. And then the digital marketing person reached out to me that, please, can you help me? I know you are good at this thing. And I have other priorities that I needed to accomplish. That's not within my task. And I know that it will take me so much time because I needed to refine the caption, because the caption wasn't refined at the time. So I just respectfully declined and also proposed that if next time I can help, but this is what I have at my table now, I would not be able to do it. So I respectfully declined that task. Not in a way that it will look like I'm not. I gave him reasons, genuine reasons, given that I had other important tasks to do, and he was glad. he felt, okay, that's good. I also even proposed if he could allow me to do it late in the night. I knew that late in the night, of course, will not work, but that's just a way of showing that I want to help, but I'm handicapped. So you can always respectfully decline sometimes when you know that you also have things that are related to your KPIs, which you need to deliver on. And that can help you to, gradually not become that dumping ground. But also, a rider to that is a situation in that same area where um, their Instagram account was banned. And I have an experience trying to help persons recover their Instagram account, right? So what I did was proposing a way out. And eventually, in 2, 3 days, the Instagram account, they got Instagram account back. But when they were giving their reports, my name was mentioned as someone who assisted in helping out to revive or to get their Instagram account back. So you just have to be strategic about it. While there are tasks that may not necessarily be a dumping ground for you, when you see that, oh, this task can help maybe in um, in driving growth or revenue for the organization, you can assist, and I mean, depending on who is working with you, your name would also be mentioned as someone who assisted. Another example is there was a migration that we did at my workplace. It wasn't within my jurisdiction, but I had little experience about migrating profiles on Microsoft, given that I had worked there before, and the person that they brought in to do the job did his work, but there were some other gray areas that he couldn't complete. And I volunteered. I mean, he had been paid. I volunteered to assist in completing that task, right? Even though it is not within my jurisdiction. But when they were to appreciate persons who did the job, my name was mentioned. So you just have to be strategic about it. It's okay to decline sometimes if you realize that these things might affect my work. But some areas where this thing would help the business, maybe holistically to help, and such that your name would be mentioned. I'm not, I believe you understand what I'm saying. So you just plan your work around that. And then I don't know if I've been able to answer all, I believe. Okay, out handling a staff who is not doing well. I think you mentioned that, yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So given that I have experience with such a person who wasn't doing well, um, what has helped me over the years is one-on-one one-on-one session. I have regular one-on-ones with persons who are not doing well, and I make it look like um, if they don't perform well, they would not appreciate. I mean, they will not appreciate the outcome of what would come out of it, and that comes up usually the when I realize that they they are consistent with not doing well. As much as possible, I try to know what's happening. I try to go close. For instance, the young man I mentioned who wasn't doing well, I know he once had high blood pressure, you know, and that was even affecting him. So, I try to empathize with him, even speak with his wife at some point, and I knew that was affecting his work. So there are peculiar situations where persons they are not just high performers, maybe because they are also tired of the job, So what you can do is just speak with them. Communication helps for me. But if it gets to a level where it's also affecting your productivity as a high performer, I mean, it's okay to talk to HR about it. It's not um, yeah, it's okay to talk to HR about it so that it can be escalated and you have done your bit. Every organization has their policies about this. but I'm just talking generally. But based on general work policies, when your subordinate is not doing well, they are not performing well, and it's affecting your productivity, it's affecting your company's overall goal, it's okay to talk to HR about it. You know, I I've been in that situation before where I wasn't performing well many years back, and that was because of a couple of things I was going through, and I allowed it to get through to me. My then manager, spoke with me. I explained even the situation when I realized he wanted to know better, and he advised me, he helped me out on how I can become better. You know, even though I didn't eventually, it didn't work, but eventually I saw that, man, if I lose this job, I don't want to go back to job hunting at the time. So, I had to tell myself that I just need to take it seriously. So, yeah, but communication for me has been working. For this young man I talked about, who is my subordinate, communication has been helping. And when I communicate, going forward, we have action result. For your next task, if you give me a timeline and you complete it by Friday, 12 p.m., by 11:59, it has to be dropped. And don't wait for me to ask you, please, you know. So we are friends, and he has seen that I'm a high performer. So I've been showing that I perform at my highest level. So he knew that he had no choice but to, comport. So I think that's my 2 cents on that, if you ask me.
Okay. Thank you, Bro Emmanuel. I think the time has been far spent, and then we just need to move on because of time. Thank you, everyone, for being part of this evening's program. You are all welcome. For me,